This is your Barbados Today Morning News Update for Wednesday, June 19th, 2019. Thanks for joining us. I'm Carol Williams. Former Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite is demanding that the current holder of the office resign. With 30 murders recorded for the year so far, Brathwaite says Attorney General Dale Marshall has failed woefully to maintain peace and stability in the country. He notes that Marshall, a former Barbados Labour Party spokesman on legal matters, was highly critical of him while he was in the position, but is now facing the realities of the job. Brathwaite says he agreed that the murder rate is a manifestation of a systemic problem, and he warned that unless steps are taken to address the root causes, the cycle will continue. Financial institutions are again facing heat for their reluctance to finance small players in the tourism industry. Opposition leader Bishop Joseph Atherley told Parliament yesterday that this isn't acceptable since everyone needs to have greater ownership in the bread and butter industry. He was debating the resolution on the final report of the National Cruise Development Commission.
Capital in this place lends a ready ear to certain elements in our population, in our economy, but those very same ears which are readily open to those certain elements are made deaf to the pleas, the cries of those who don't fit into a certain bracket in this country. Notwithstanding the fact that they come with plans, notwithstanding the fact that they come with prudent business plans, notwithstanding the fact that these are people who have experience, have been in business for a long time, they've been tried and they've been tested. But you want to move your business to the next level. You want to expand, but you don't belong to a certain category, and therefore those ears which are readily open to others are closed to you.
Normal operations are expected to resume today at the Sustainable Barbados Recycling Center following yesterday's major fire. Owner Ralph Busy Williams says most of the equipment was saved at the Vaucluse St. Thomas site. The same couldn't be said for the Sanitation Service Authority operations. With the transfer station affected, SSA spokesman Carl Alf Padmore informed private haulers that the authority will accommodate their waste as its own landfill from today. Prime Minister Mia Mottley is in mourning like many others in Barbados, but for her, yesterday's death of one of the country's preeminent creatives, Richard Springer, was even more personal. In a statement issued yesterday, she described the deceased as a second mother.
This is a difficult moment for me because Rachel was in fact my godmother and was almost like a second mother to me, and therefore it has come with shock because her illness was short, but I am comforted by the fact that having seen her, that I knew she was peaceful as she transitioned, and it really allows me to believe in what the old people tell us about passing away, because I do believe that Rachel passed away to another space where I have every comfort that she is dancing. For many a young Barbadian for decades, Rachel inspired them to believe that they could make a living from dancing, when at a time nobody believed that you made a living from music or dance or the arts, period. But she led the way in allowing us to know that we could be the best of who we want to be, depending on what we chose to be, so long as we did it with passion and with discipline.
The Hope Foundation is calling for mandatory screening for sickle cell anemia for newborns. Foundation President Shelley Ware believes such a move will not only determine the numbers affected, but help ensure they have access to early treatment. She was speaking at a press conference to mark World Sickle Cell Day.
As such could literally mean the difference between life and death, and definitely improved well-being. The fact is, apart from the fear, depression, anxiety, and frustration that can accompany any chronic illness, like for example sickle cell, sicklers are also at risk of life-threatening complications, including acute chest syndrome, stroke, and kidney disease. Those sobering facts have been the driving force behind Hope Foundation's quest over the years to have newborn babies in this country tested for the disease. Now, given the fact that babies with sickle cell usually appear normal at birth, and only show signs of the condition after several months. It has long been our contention that early diagnosis is the key to ensuring healthy and successful lives.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
In St. Lucia, public service trade unions are moving to formalize a deal struck with the government following intense negotiations. But there are concerns among the St. Lucia Teachers Union and the Civil Service Association that their position was weakened by the Police Welfare Association and the Nurses Association breaking away from the Trade Union Federation. We get the details from HGS News Force.
There's an admission on the part of the CSA that all of the public sector unions lost out as a result of the Police Welfare Association and later the Nurses Association breaking ranks with the TUF.
The general sentiment expressed from our membership is that had we stayed together as a unit, meaning the TUF, police and nurses, we would have been in a much better position in terms of the outcome of the negotiations.
The Civil Service Association and the St. Lucia Teachers Union, the remaining members of the Trade Union Federation, say they felt compelled to secure a better deal than that of the police and nurses.
The CSA, like the other unions, will not allow one unit to determine the outcome of negotiations.
And finally, internationally, Argentina's president has promised a thorough investigation into the cause of this past weekend's 14-hour power failure. As we hear from France 24, the blackout in Argentina, Uruguay and Paraguay over the weekend raised serious questions about the vulnerability of the power grid in South America and brought criticism down on the president.
An unprecedented blackout across the south of the Americas, leaving tens of millions of people without electricity in Argentina, Uruguay and Paraguay. The incident scuppered public transport, cut off the water supply and crippled phone and internet connections. As in many places, residents of Buenos Aires quickly lost patience.
It's frustrating. The authorities said that it won't happen again, but it could happen. And it's an extra expense that we have to pay from our own pockets.
The blackout originated at a transmission point between two power stations in Argentina's northeast, though the energy minister is still in the dark about why it had such a widespread effect.
The failure is not abnormal or extraordinary. What is abnormal and extraordinary and shouldn't happen is the following chain of events that caused the total cutoff.
Argentine experts say operational and design errors likely played a role, as the system should have isolated the failure before it spread out so disastrously.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. And sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Carol Williams. Have a good day.